Good evening, friends. Well, it's Friday once again, and I'm back with another tale from my collection. Now it's time to grab a snack, dim the lights, and let me take you into the night with a story I call The Birthday Wish. Sitting on the garden terrace, enjoying his lunch in the shade of the big oak tree, it was a pleasantly warm day, full of bright sunshine and a gentle, cool breeze. He watched a butterfly light upon a flower and was immediately reminded of a wonderful story he had read as a child. It was about a girl in a world of her own where everything was nonsense, and contrariwise, what was nonsense made sense. He laughed at this small play on words and worlds, and realized that after more than 50 years of life, this still was his favorite story of all. No small feat when you considered he himself was a writer who regularly spun tales of his own. He continued to think of the story, and as he sipped his tea, smiled again, remembering the tea party scene and the unbirthday party. "Why, today is my unbirthday too!" he said aloud, and looked around to see if anyone had noticed him being silly. At that very moment, realizing that he was self-conscious of being thought silly, a sadness settled over him, and he realized that life was most unfair. For example, here he was, enjoying a fine meal in the garden while his poor wife of 35 years was off in the city working in a doctor's office. It should be he who was gainfully employed while she sat at home in fine linens, sipping tea and eating dainties. But alas, it was not to be. It was not always this way. At a time when he had finally risen near the top of his profession and could provide these things for her, the kingdom fell, and he was left to flounder. To make matters worse, in his journey to the top, he had all but used up his body, and now just sitting to eat was painful, though he tried to ignore the pain and take what pleasure he could. It was true. He had grown tired of this life of endless struggle, where the pains outnumbered the joys by a large margin. In 4 days it would be his birthday, and as every year, he had a solemn duty to undertake which would come upon him within the next evening or two. He would have to tell his wife his birthday wish, and this was no light matter, for if he were not truly happy with her gift, she would be saddened. Of course, she would try not to show it, but he would know, and after 35 years he found when she was sad, so too was he, and he did not want to be sad on his birthday. The sun sank lower into the afternoon sky, bringing a cool evening breeze and the knowledge that at any moment his sweet wife would arrive home from work to join him in the garden for their customary evening cocktail, while she regaled him with the events of her day, in the course of which she may ask his birthday wish. He had no interest in material objects other than what they already had to make them comfortable, and on the rare occasion something caught his eye, if it was within his means, he procured it. His birthday wish had to be for something only she could give him, and that the very act itself would result in his happiness. He heard the door open in the front hall, and knew she would be coming out to meet him as soon as she shed her wrap. Getting up from his lounge, he moved to the bar to make their cocktail. "Hello, darling," he said as he handed her a cool cocktail. "How was your day?" He listened closely as she described the comings and goings of patients and annoying drug peddlers from the pharmaceutical companies, how insurance was horrid in its treatment of people, deciding who would receive what treatment based on their worth rather than their needs. As always, he knew she was about to finish when she moved on to the few moments in each day which made her smile. It was her way to end on a positive note, and he knew the time was short. "So tell me," she said, looking over her glass as she sipped the drink, "what would you like for your birthday this year?" Suddenly, his mind drifted back to an evening when they had watched a movie about a little robot boy who lost his mother, and when the aliens found him, he wanted only one thing: to see his human mother. The aliens were able to grant him this wish as he had a piece of her DNA, and they recreated her, but he was told she would wake happy and spend the day with just him, but At the end of the day, when she went to sleep, she would never wake again. He remembered how wonderful that day had been and knew his birthday wish. I would like to wake on Saturday morning, my birthday, feeling happy and pain-free to have you spend the entire day with me, just the two of us, doing whatever we desire with no chores or distractions. And at the end of the day, make love before we fall into a deep sleep holding each other. She looked thoughtful for a moment before getting up to prepare the evening meal and said, looking over her shoulder through her long dark hair as she entered the kitchen, "We shall see." At his wife's insistence, he visited the doctor on Friday to get something he could take before bed, so Saturday would be indeed pain-free and leave him feeling happy while not in a drugged stupor. On his way home, he stopped to see his friend the chemist, from whom he obtained one black pill to take at bedtime to ensure he would fall asleep peacefully, never to wake. Lying in his bed Saturday night with his wife held close to his chest, where he could hear her peaceful breathing as she drifted off to sleep, he looked back over the day and knew it had been perfect. Not once had she tried to clear a dish or even fold a towel, but instead, she had awakened with him to cook a marvelous brunch and then presented him with a strawberry shortcake for dessert that she had bought the day before. She spent the day with him carefree, and they had a wonderful dinner of his favorite dishes, served to them in the garden by a caterer she had hired for the occasion. Finally, after their evening cocktail, she had taken him to bed, where they made the most wondrous love he could ever remember. Lying there, he took a drink of water from the glass next to the bed and stared for several long moments at the little black pill glistening in the moonlight. With newfound determination, he reached out to take the pill and dropped it into the trash by the night table. As he drifted off to sleep with a smile on his face, he thought, if today could be like this, then maybe there could be other days like this. I hope you enjoyed this story and didn't mind the happy ending. If you did, give me a thumbs up. I was a bit reserved about posting this story, as suicide today is a very serious issue. If you or someone you know is struggling, please tell someone and ask for help. That's all for tonight, but I'll be back again next Friday with another story just for you. Until then, sleep well.